Well, while you get that situated, we are, in fact,
Oh.
live.
God.
Yeah. Welcome to Game Central Junction, everyone. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. Have a happy Halloween, or as they would say in Ireland, and a hona gwit. So that's how we go. I'm rocking Captain N today because I've got no other costumes to wear. I actually would have preferred something spooky or frightening. Maybe the frightening part is the fact that I don't have the wig anymore. So you just have my shaved head instead. And Marsupial's working on something.
All right, here I am. I'm in a dark void,
Mm-hmm.
and my headphones are cartoonishly large.
Cartoonishly
Unlike my
large
ears,
and
which
not
are-
even on your ears.
Yeah. Well, they're on the side of my head. That's where I hear from.
Yeah.
And one of these days, I will have something in the back. Eventually, find
Yeah.
something.
Anyhow, if you guys enjoy the show, please get more people in here. We'll have a good time, get it big. I don't expect anybody really to come in on a Halloween. They
What?
should have something better to do. I mean, if somebody comes in, that there's almost like a shame to that.
No. I don't associate with non-nerds who have lives. The only people I know,
Yeah.
they're my people.
No one with children who should be out trick or treating, or maybe at like a masquerade ball or something like that, doing something interesting.
No, that would require sex with a woman.
That's true.
I don't abide that sort of behavior.
Yeah.
My.
But if you are lonely hanging out with
Yeah.
us on Halloween and enjoying yourself, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live. Really helps the show out, and I'll read basically anything you send on to it. Though, I mean, with how slow the chat is, I'm probably just going to read whatever you say anyway.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Hey, that's covering me up.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Spooky. You know, if I were not so much of a professional, done this before the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we like to show how the sausage is made. The kangaroo sausage.
I wonder how kangaroo sausage would taste. I don't know.
Mm. I hear it's good.
Yeah.
I don't know about sausage, but I heard that.
Because I imagine kangaroo meat is just like really, really lean. Those things are
Meat.
like nothing but muscle.
Oh yeah, it's just like what is it, like bison and stuff? It's lower fat.
Yeah.
Cow. It's pretty good.
That's why I like cow
But I don't know.
because you can get really fat cows. It's like
Yeah.
the difference between
So how's it
getting
going, Captain N? Oh.
beef and venison, right? I like venison, but it's just not as good as beef because it's not as fatty.
Yeah. But it's supposed to be just as tasty though, somehow.
It's got a
More-
different taste. It's not. I mean, it's its own thing. If you're not used to like the different grazing animals, a lot of them just taste the same, right? Like I've served ground venison,
Mhm.
venison to somebody who said they would never eat deer meat, and I just told them it was chuck beef, and they ate it and were perfectly happy with it. But if you do eat different kinds regularly, you can kind of taste the difference between them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had venison or like rabbit.
No, rabbit's definitely very different. Unless you get it like
Yeah.
you dry out and jerk the meat, then like all the meats start to taste more the same, and it's like whatever seasoning you put on it.
I have had frog's leg. And what's funny is when I was really young, I tried frog's legs and I really liked them. And then later on, like when I was a late teenager, I tried them again and they were disgusting. And I don't know if it was like the way it was prepared or bad frogs or if my taste changed. Probably the most likely.
Well, I
Like,
mean, your taste buds do actually replicate every 7 years, which is why you
yeah.
tend to change your taste slightly every so often. But
And I imagine your ability to, you know, taste nuance, taste, different things probably increases dramatically from when you're like 10, 19.
well, yeah, because you'll have more taste buds than you did back then. But
Yeah.
also,
And more developed brain.
yeah, a lot of taste is learned, right? Like the term acquired taste. Technically, almost everything except milk is an acquired taste, right? You just learn it, and it's usually picked up culturally. So having that more experienced palate and brain, you can't even technically remember what things tasted like back when you were 10 years old. You have like a sense of what
Yeah.
it might have been, but you can't actually remember.
Right, right. Yeah, I just remember like the first time I tried frog's legs, it tasted like chicken, as they say,
Yeah.
about everything. Probably because it just tasted like, nothing out of the ordinary. And yeah, later on, like years later, I was like, oh yeah, frog's legs, I love those. I try them, and it's like, ew, these are gross. I just didn't like the flavor.
I actually like frog's legs more than chicken. But I'm also not a big chicken guy, so I was turned off originally when they said it tastes like chicken. And then when I got older, I realized, oh, tastes like chicken literally just means it tastes like nothing, basically, because chicken doesn't have much of a flavor to it.
Yeah. Like it sort of does, but
But it's not very
yeah,
strong, and our chickens aren't as flavorful as they used to be anyway. We've kind of genetically modified our chickens to lose taste but gain size.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably the same with beef. Cows.
Yeah, they might have tasted better in the past, but I think the bigger problem is how they tried to make our cows way too lean now, which it almost seems to be like a bounce back from how they used to be, because obviously a grazing animal would have been more lean before they were domesticated. But I don't know. I think a fatty cow probably tastes better than they were before we started fattening them up.
Well, I know the best cuts are like like a porterhouse. It's the other marbled sort of.
Yeah. Anything
Kind
that's
of beef.
marbled is going to be the best cut. Like getting a nice T-bone steak, right? Or ribeye. A marbled ribeye is pretty good.
Ribeye, that's the one I was. Yeah, although I mean a T-bone. So the T-bone is like it's actually a filet mignon on one side,
Yeah.
and a sirloin on the other, basically.
More or less.
So,
but it also, you
theoretically,
usually don't trim the fat off of it either. That's what makes it different than either cut.
Yeah, and the sirloin side is actually the fattier side. So that ends up being more flavorful. But a lot of people like the fillets because they're just a very tender meat, but it tends to be the least fatty, so it's not particularly flavorful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you also get that connecting tissue, which I think actually has a nice taste to it too. When you trim the steak off of the bone itself.
Oh yeah, I mean the best part about a T-bone, is that right? Is sort of like burning the fat. Like I find, like not totally destroying it, but like
bristling.
It kind of gets that charred flavor and charred fat in between the bone.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So good. Anyway, how do we get on this? Oh yeah, we're talking about kangaroo meat.
Kangaroo meat, yes, kangaroo meat.
Well, do you remember a website called Woot.com?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, man, I used to go on there all the time because they had these, I guess they called them Woots, that were just like deals that would just pop up every day, maybe several times. They were like ridiculously good sales. Apparently, the site was bought by Amazon at some point, and now it's just a boring, sale, just a boring e-commerce site. occasionally has good deals, and apparently there's some good deals on video.
Do you remember back when Woot was just like standard internet leet speak? Right, we just have like a W00T, and
Yeah,
that would, like, if somebody was excited about something, it would just type Woot. You don't see that anymore.
I know. Well, sometimes I do it, but when I do it, I feel old. I'm like, wait. when I learned this, it was like, oh, that's what all the kids are saying. So I started it, and then I occasionally do it, and then I'm like, oh, what am I doing? This is
Bringing it back. I'm gonna start
Gotcha.
responding to all kinds of things, mostly with leet speak, but Woot specifically is coming back.
Well, you know what they say is, I used to be with it, but then it changed. I don't know what I'm with, but scary and strange. I forget how to
Changed,
say.
and it's like, and one day it'll happen to you too.
That's right.
Abe Simpson talking to Homer.
Yeah. But anyway, my point was, I never bought Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door on Switch.
Mhm.
I was not going to spend $60 on some censored woke garbage. Some slightly changed dialogue, but it's on sale for $45.
Yeah, actually, there's a
Woot.
whole list of deals at Woot. It's actually a story I had pulled up already from like Nintendo exclusives, and it's kind of cool because Nintendo exclusives are almost never ever on sale.
Yeah, but I guess it's are these physical copies?
I'm guessing.
I guess. Yeah, it says estimated delivery. Oh, yeah, physical copy. Pretty cool. Usually it's like you get a digital code.
Yeah. But you've got some of them are pretty big deals, and though some of these are like first-party Nintendo games, even if they're exclusive, so it's whatever. But a lot of these are first-party. So you've got like Echoes of Wisdom is only $50. Tears of the Kingdom is down to $45.
That was $70. Jeez.
Yeah. So it's half off. Well, not really, but it feels like it's half off.
Not quite.
Yeah,
Close.
it's close,
Yeah.
close enough. We also have Nintendo World Championship NES Edition is $25. Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door is $45. Honestly, even if you're 60 and you're only $45, with how much Nintendo never puts deals on, even that feels like half off, even though it's only like 75%.
Yeah, I'm tempted to do that Nintendo World Championships. I wish I could put a hat on this model because, I wish I could put a hat over these years.
Yeah.
Because I got the Nintendo World Championship Edition hat, and I can't show it off today.
Yeah. We also have Super Mario Brothers Wonder is $45. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe is $40. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD $45. Luigi's Mansion 3 is $40. Pokemon Scarlet and Shield are both $40, so that also would apply to their opposites, Violet and Sword.
I actually wondered that. Do you think? What do you
Actually,
think?
maybe it's not, because they have
Scarlet and
Let's
Violet?
Go Pikachu and Eevee listed separately. They don't have. Yeah, that's weird.
Let me see. I'll click on. Have you looked at Scarlet and Violet?
I've played all of Scarlet.
Okay, Violet is also $40.
Okay.
So I'm guessing Sword is also, but I already have Sword.
I don't
wouldn't
have
play
a
much of
copy
it.
of Scarlet though, because we just thought it'd be cheaper to all share a physical copy, and now that physical copy's not with me anymore. But I have played through the game. I didn't like it as much as previous Pokemon games, but I probably liked it more than most of the people online complaining about it. And I think it's because a lot of the things they wanted didn't happen, so most people were disappointed, because a lot of people have been wanting this open world Pokemon game forever, right? And I haven't been. So a lot of the stuff that ended up broken with the game ended up being better for me. Or like a lot of them wanted the school setting to be fleshed out, right? And me, I hate school settings. So the fact that it was barely a part of the game, really, other than story setup, was great for me. Like, oh yeah, I spent almost no time in school, but a lot of people are upset. Or the game was kind of buggy in some regards, and sometimes Pokemon just wouldn't show up, like they wouldn't display, and you would just end up running into a Pokemon anyway, and a battle would start. And I'm like, cool. This bug kind of gave me random encounters, even though they weren't supposed to be in the game at all. So like all the things that people were mad about the game were actually things I liked. And then most of the things they wanted, like the Breath of the Wild style exploration, I didn't want in the game. It's like, I like routes. I like the whole expanding world where it's kind of like an open world, but it's a world that opens up for you the further you go along. And one of the cool things about the routes is figuring out the puzzle of the route, right? So like you can choose to not fight all the trainers. You're trying to figure out where their line of sight is to avoid them, unless you really want all that experience. And then you want to get into their way, or sometimes there's like push puzzles and stuff in the routes, and you just don't have any of that in Scarlet and Violet, and that I hated.
Yeah. So did you like it? Did you play Sword and or Shield?
Yeah, I did play Sword, and I'll be honest, I think the fact that I played Sword is what made me like Scarlet as much as I did.
Okay, because I really, well, sounds like you didn't either. I really did not like Sword. I think I played, maybe I played Shield. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're the same.
Yeah. The Sword and Shield to me is the worst of the traditional style Pokemon games, where everything is still kind of the same way they've been doing forever. Scarlet and Violet kind of changed the formula a little bit, and Sword and Shield, they just dropped the ball on everything, in my opinion. They tried to make everything seem larger than life and try to make it feel more like you're playing like an anime or whatever. But in doing so, they made everything 100 times more lame than it used to be. And then the hand-holding is worse than it was in every game. You don't even really save the world or whatever, right? Frickin' what's his name? Leon, or the dude who's actually in charge of the Elite Four, is like, no, you need to focus on your Pokemon World Championship. I will stop the bad guys. I was like, you son of a bitch.
What? Who came up with that idea?
I don't know, because in every other game, you're just like, Red, I'm 14 years old. I'm going to go take down a crime syndicate.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't even get that far because I was so bored with it. And I kept seeing people on live streams, like all they were doing was riding around on their bikes waiting for their damn eggs to hatch.
Oh, yeah. That's just common.
Looks like the most boring thing
They're
ever.
like shiny farming. That's what they're doing.
God. So you don't even fight bad guys? I mean...
Oh, you do. But like the biggest stuff just ends up getting subverted. Yeah. I thought it was dumb.
Should I get Violet or Scarlet?
You might actually like it a little bit more. It still has the turn-based combat, right? So it's like an RPG still. But then a lot of the exploration is a little bit more like Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't.
Now you said you played through Scarlet.
Yeah. Which they're
I don't
virtually identical except for like the ending.
Okay. I kind of like the Pokemon on the front of Violet better.
Yeah.
Like Scarlet, it looks like a motorcycle or something.
They're both motorcycles. One of them is prehistoric. The other is futuristic.
Okay.
And the prehistoric one doesn't ever actually use its wheels. It's supposed to be like the ancient ancestor of this thing. So it's just display and it runs around on all four. While the futuristic one actually kind of like transformers from its like four-legged state into like a motorcycle state.
Squinting my eyes.
Yeah.
What was that? Like, okay, so is the prehistoric one, is that the Violet one?
Scarlet's prehistoric. Violet is the futuristic. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because the futuristic one, you can't even see a wheel. I guess it's like a light wheel made out of light.
Yeah. No, you only will see that when it transforms, while the Scarlet one is like there at all times.
Yeah. I don't know, $40? Think about it.
Yeah. There's also the
33% off.
Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee are also $40. I don't recommend those games.
I've got Eevee. Well, I mean, if you like grinding,
If you liked
game for grinding.
Pokemon Go, sure.
I did. I did
Yeah.
like Pokemon.
I hate Pokemon Go. That's probably why I wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
Well, see, I liked Pokemon Go with the cheat that allowed you to roam around without actually leaving your house.
Yeah.
And that's basically what Let's Go is.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, Fizzjozo.
So I was like, this is just like that.
Yeah, it's just Kanto again, but with Pokemon Go mechanics.
Yeah. Do you ever fight? You do fight other Pokemon, just like other trainers.
Yeah, there's trainers and gym battles and stuff, but all of the catching's Pokemon Go style.
Yeah, all the ones in the wild, you just throw the ball at it. So it's like, I don't know. I never liked the whole catching Pokemon in the wild because you just had to be so careful to like not knock it out. I don't understand why you can't catch it after you knock it out.
Well, that was some people's complaints in the very, very first Pokemon game. But since then, that's also kind of become one of the appreciated challenges of the game is the actual process of catching. It's got a fail state.
Yeah, maybe that's why I just should stay away from Pokemon, because I don't like the fundamental mechanics of the game. I keep wanting to like Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would actually like Pokemon less if, like, I've thought about this over the years. If you could just catch Pokemon that you knocked out, I think I would like it less, because then they're really, unless they made it easier for Pokemon to run away, there just wouldn't be a fail state to catching.
Yeah, because you could just get totally OP and then go back and catch all the lower power.
Now, if they made it to where, like, if you threw out a Pokemon that was too strong, like it was 20 to 30 levels or more higher, it would just flee immediately, then it would make you go back with like weaker Pokemon or whatever. But that would also have some problems because you'd have to like be able to purchase weak Pokemon, or because what if you just don't have anything that's weak anymore, right?
I get.
There's things they could do, but they'd be fundamentally changing the entire system and how they go about developing the game.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting they change. I'm just saying that's one of the things that bugs me about that.
But it's something you could consider if you ever made your own style of game like that,
Because there are Pokemon clones out there. As long as they don't use a ball, apparently. Got patented after Pal World was game popular. But I have seen other ones where they use like these other devices to catch the.
Oh yeah, or more than not, Pokemon kind of just dominates the 1v1 style where like like the idea of a crew battle, right? Where you start with one character and it's a 1v1, and then after it gets knocked out, it goes to the next one. There's some clones, but none of them compete with Pokemon at all, right? But then there's some other monster catching things like I would say the SMT style, more of where you have like a party of things, which SMT was like the first one to do. But then also like Monster Hunter, or not Monster, Dragon Quest Monsters, that's the name I'm trying to think of, is also more of the SMT style. Yokai Watch is also more of the SMT style, where it's like you've got 3 characters on the field at the time and they're all fighting.
Yeah. Well, I'll think about it. But what else is on sale?
We also have Sonic X Shadow Generations is $40, which a lot of people think looks cool. I think it's lame, but I'm just not a big fan of Shadow. I think that's more of the thing. I'm a Shadow hater. I don't even hate him, but I will say I'm a Shadow hater. We've got Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is $40. Kirby Star Allies is $40. Yoshi's Crafted World, also $40. Super Mario Party, the first one, not the new one that just came out, is $40. Princess Peach Showtime is $45. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance Steelbook Edition, ooh, that's cool, is only $32. Which I probably should consider. I've been wanting to actually play Shin Megami Tensei 5. I played through 4. 4 is a really hard game.
Yeah.
Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line is $25. I love that actually 50% off, but I love the Final Fantasy theme
Yeah,
with them. Yeah.
actually, so wait, let's see. Yeah, there's one more, but I haven't heard
Yeah,
of that.
it's Fate / Samurai Remnant, which I believe is part of the Fate series.
So there are other games that are on sale. Actually, went to the store, although I don't see Pokemon Store. Scarlet and Violet are there, but and Shield. Anyway, um, Mario versus Donkey Kong, which I've very much enjoyed, is down from 50 down to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, that's weird. Pokemon Sword is not there. And Donkey Kong Country Freeze.
Oh, Tropical Freeze is on there?
Sorry, yeah, Tropical. And some other ones that I never picked up, like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. And some PlayStation games. So, yeah, Woot. Still there. Still exists. Woot.com.
Well, you want to hear some actual Nintendo news that kind of just came out of nowhere? They've been just dropping shit out of nowhere lately. Don't know why.
Yeah.
But today, they decided to drop a Nintendo Music app for iOS and Android devices. That does require your Switch Online membership subscription. And yeah, it just has like a bunch of soundtracks on there from different games. I actually have a list of like everything that they've got music from, which Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is on that list. But going in like console order, they've got both the NES and Famicom Disk System version of Metroid, Super Mario Brothers, Kirby's Dream Land, Dr. Mario, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which is a killer soundtrack. I'm probably going to be listening to that a lot. Donkey Kong Country, Ocarina of Time, Star Fox 64, Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade, Metroid Prime, the Tomodachi Collection, Nintendogs, Super Mario Galaxy, Wii channels. So they actually, I've looked at that one. They have like the entire soundtrack to all of the different like Nintendo official Wii channels, like the Wii Shopping channel, the Wii Weather channel, Me channel, all the different Wii channels, which I love a lot of them. We also have Pikmin 4, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, Splatoon 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Kirby Star Allies, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm sure they'll be adding more later. That's just the start of the service.
Yeah, I see. Well, gosh, those Animal Crossing music is great. Songs. But
they better have like every KK Slider song on there.
Oh, it looks like they've got a few. Several. I don't know.
Yeah, I have it downloaded on my phone right now, but I'm not opening up while we're on the show.
Oh, it's on the phone.
Yeah, for Android and iOS.
Wait, is it just through? Is it a separate app?
It's its own app.
Switch on?
It's called Nintendo Music. You go to the store and you get it, and when you hop in, it'll ask you to sign in to your Nintendo Switch account, which will open up a browser the same way you did to the Switch Online app.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I already got it.
You know what I'm going to play first, of course.
No, I don't.
If it's on there. No, I'll find it. Wait. Move on.
It's probably going to be that silly paragliding song that's been stuck in your head, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. From Breath of the Wild. I can't believe Breath of the Wild it has like a reputation of not having like hardly any music, but really,
No, it's got plenty of music. The thing is, like, it's finding the music, right? Because the
yeah,
general overworld is mostly ambient sounds and noises that kind of come in and out depending on
yeah,
what you're doing, right? So there's some weather related, there's zone related, especially if you're on the horse. Actually, if you're just riding around on a horse on the roads, you'll start hearing the classic Zelda theme kind of play in and out,
yeah.
which is cool. But then if you do like anything else, like battle music starts immediately, and there's a bunch of songs for different things. There's the regular battle music. My favorite one in the game is probably the Talus battle music. But there's a bunch of battle
Oh yeah.
themes. There's mini game themes. You just have to actually get into situations where you hear the music.
Will we get a copyright strike if we play anything?
I don't know.
Maybe not for.
I mean, I've got video game music, though remixes playing in the background all the
Yeah.
time anyway.
You know, I don't think they have my favorite / least favorite song on here.
Yeah.
Believe it. But you like the Stone Talus battle?
Oh yeah, I think that's a great song. Yeah, that one. I can hear it. They can't.
Oh. Right.
It like came in and out.
Oh,
Yeah.
here.
I think I have a remix of it. Yeah. Listen, we have our
I can't
microphone set
believe they
very, very sensitive. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that it's having trouble picking up stuff from another speaker.
Oh, did it not pick that up? Oh.
It picked up some of it,
I
yeah.
put it right up.
Yeah. When you put it right up to it, it picked up most of it. But I was saying before that, like, I'm not
I had to figure
surprised
out-
that it's having trouble picking up something from another speaker.
Yeah, I had to figure out where it's coming from. Obviously, the place where you put your ear, the music.
Oh, my phone's actually got two speakers. Right, it's
Yeah.
got one at the ear and one
Yeah,
at the bottom. Yeah.
Mine does too, but anyway, that's cool. Well, I've got it now.
So yeah, being on a plan now with you, I got a new phone, and there was actually a feature about it that I know is standard for phones, but I didn't realize this until after I got it, and I hate that this is standard for phones now. It doesn't have a headphone jack.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't people
No, you need
believe in
Bluetooth.
headphone jacks anymore?
Wireless, man. You gotta irradiate your head with non-ionizing radiation. Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just
I don't
always
know.
preferred wires, direct connection. You know.
Yeah. Well, at least you can get headphones that plug into the the USB-C jack, but then you can't charge the phone at the same time.
Yeah, you have to get like a splitter or something. Yeah.
They have those,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, Fizz shows
Yeah,
us
there's
says
a-
because they
there's
want to make
wired-
phones thinner. No, objectively wrong. This phone is twice as thick as my last one, and my last one had a headphone jack in it.
yeah, but they had to shove a lot more electronics in there, I guess. I don't know. It's because of Apple. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
because they're like, oh, it's it's ugly or something. I don't know.
Apple did it first, which gave everybody else the excuse
Yeah.
because Apple's customers were going to buy it anyway. You're like, well, if their customers are buying it, then
Yeah.
our customers will buy it.
Well, I used to have wireless keyboard and mouse, and they drove me
Yeah.
freaking nuts on my computer. Like, they were top of the line, Logitech and everything, and it was like the responsiveness was awful.
Yeah.
It would constantly just like stop, recognizing movement, and I'm like, screw this. And I finally got wired mouse and keyboard again, and they're fantastic.
Yeah. That's been my entire experience with wireless things, probably since, I don't know, maybe there were some in the late 90s, but I'm going to say more about like the turn of the millennia is when that started to become a popular thing. Like the Wavebird controller and all that. And everybody wanted their wireless
Yeah.
controllers. I'm like, no. And then like the battery would die halfway through them playing the game, or they would like disconnect, and you have to basically like save, if possible, turn the system off because it wouldn't re-register the thing when you plugged it out and plugged it back in. And it's like, well, I hate wireless shit.
Well, it seems like wireless stuff that like comes with a console seems to work okay, because I think it's, it's dedicated and calibrated perfectly with the thing.
Well, and they're getting better than they used to be, right?
Yeah. But like anything where you're on a PC, it's just, drivers may not be perfect. Hardware may not match exactly with the hardware, and I don't know.
Well, I've even noticed a big difference between PS4 and PS5, right?
Yeah.
Now, part of it, too, is there's, like, nothing interfering. Your PS5, there's not, like, a coffee table or anything in the way. But I used to use my PS4 and even Buck's PS4 all the time throughout the years. And my PS4 controllers would always get interference from just something nearby, or if there's like even like a table in the way, it would get interference. Have not had that problem at all with the PS5.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I don't have any problem most of the time I can think of with even the Joy-Cons with the Switch.
I have.
Cross them. Oh, you have?
Yeah. Now this, again, here I haven't had the problem, but you don't have anything in between the two stuff.
Yeah.
But,
well, yeah.
Buck's house, I would
But
notice.
if I had a table...
If, even if we just had like a metal, what's it called, like TV tray or whatever, and I was not paying attention and I just kind of let my hands dip below the TV tray, I would just lose signal sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least where I have the Switch dock, a table shouldn't interfere because it's up above. It's right next to the TV.
Yeah.
But I guess with the PlayStation, it's a little bit lower down. Well, still need a coffee table eventually. Maybe we'll just get a glass one.
Yeah. Well, it just depends like what's in the way, right? So like even sometimes wood, it depends whether it's like hardwood, like actual full wood, which a hardwood table will not disperse wireless as much as what's the word I'm thinking of? Where they take the pulp and they put it together.
Particle board.
Particle board, yeah. Or just anything where you just repulp wood back together. That is technically denser, right, than if you just use the wood outright. And that can actually block signal a little bit more. But wood's not as bad as if you have something that's like aluminum or steel in between your signal.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Pressed wood. That's actually the word I was looking
weeds,
for.
I guess.
It's called pressed wood.
Oh, I would just call it particle board.
Yeah. It came back to me. Yeah, because that's the function, right? They press the pulp back together into wood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I'm always going to be a wired guy when possible. I even prefer like an Ethernet cable when it's an option.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's just not practical for most consoles, but I agree with wherever it is practical, wired is better. I wish that I haven't had a situation where connecting to Ethernet was realistic, like unless I had a cable going like across the room or into another room. But I'll tell you what.
I mean, isn't your router like right next to the PlayStation now?
Yeah, well, I could with the PlayStation. I'm just saying with my PC.
Yeah.
I've
no, because it's right next to it. I haven't had any problems either because like there's no difference distance between it and the wireless signal. So
yeah, does the PlayStation have an Ethernet?
It should. I'm pretty sure it and the Xbox do. It's the Switch by default doesn't because of the nature of the dock. You have to get a USB dongle.
Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah, since it's right next to it, it doesn't have any problem. But I will say, so because the last couple of weeks, basically, I don't know when it started. Some update a couple of months ago started fucking with my wireless on my desktop. That's one of the few, well, not one of the few. It's one of the many parts of it that are original 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And apparently Windows 11 didn't fix it, so I got a new Wi-Fi card, and so far so good. I think it's not cut out this whole time, right?
So far, yeah, no, I don't think so. Unless I haven't noticed, but I mean, you seem fine.
Yeah, seems to be working great. Happy with that. It's Wi-Fi 6AX, as they change the letters and numbers and every other year. I guess 6 goes up above and beyond a gigabit, so it should be good. But other than Wi-Fi, I like wired. They just need to, come up with wireless electricity. Everyone needs to have a Tesla coil in their house.
Yeah. I was when you said like 6X, I was thinking like maybe they have Elon Musk's brain, right? Because if you remember the Tesla models when it first came out, it was Tesla Model S, then there's Tesla Model E, and then there's Tesla Model X. It's like, okay, Elon, we see what you're doing.
Yes. I think one of them was like canceled. Well, the E was changed to a 3, right?
It was at a certain point, yeah. But he was still just trying to spell out sex with his model numbers.
Yeah. He has the same sense of humor as Ethan Van Sciver with his stupid, his kind of funny sex things in the background.
Yeah. As somebody who's still like mentally 14 years old. Well, maybe not mentally, emotionally 14 years old, I'll say that.
Yeah. I asked somebody today who I'd met for the first time, but we were having a conversation about, what ages people look like. And I asked, there was this young woman, well, she turned out to be 35, and I asked her how old she thought I was. And she said, 38.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was like, great. I'm glad I looked at it. Well, I didn't show her my bald spot, so.
Yeah.
I'm actually 47, but I kind of wonder, though, because she was having this conversation with Peach, and Peach is 35. So after she started learned that.
Getting primed.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I'd asked her before that, because I'm guessing she thought, 35, so he's maybe a little bit older, 38.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that was a good. I'd have to ask someone else how old I look. I don't mind looking old. I like being old.
I think people should take their aging with stride and let themselves age gracefully.
Yeah. Well, it's like Dr. Farnsworth's philosophy. He likes being old. So like 150 or something.
Oh yeah. Well, he also lied about his age too at one point because he was past the age where you were supposed to kind of get forcibly retired, and he was like 10 years older than he was actually registered as.
Yeah. Like when they all went to the Fountain of Youth, and then they ended up getting aged back, and they were they had some machine that could tell how old they were, and he determined that he had become even older than he was before. He was like, woohoo.
Yeah, and it was like Amy and Leela were like, oh, I think I might be a couple years younger, wink wink.
Yeah. It's funny is with men, unfortunately, men don't get taken seriously at all, at least professionally, until they're in their 30s.
Yeah, man.
So I find that being in your 20s has certain benefits, but if you want to be taken seriously as a professional,
unless you end up on those lists like 30 under 30 or something like that.
Yeah. I guess.
But those
But,
are also
you know.
like less than 1% of people.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay, so for normal people, for the rest of
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
if you want to be taken seriously, like even considered for major, uh, uh, the word, um, raises and
Positions and stuff.
promotions, yeah, positions. It's like, yeah, unless you're s- way you know, out of the mainstream, out of the norm in terms of intelligence or somehow accomplishment.
I think the accomplishment ends up mattering
You,
more than the intelligence. If we were to look at the
yeah.
trends.
Well,
Well, I mean, the
but
intelligence could
usually they
lead
go
to
hand
the
in hand.
accomplishments. Yeah, but no, there's a lot of very intelligent people who just due to circumstance, even if they try to do things, they just don't
Mm,
end up accomplishing anything until later.
yeah. But I was having this
Yeah,
conversation earlier with someone else about,
yeah, yeah.
you know, well, actually, yeah, women wanting to look older when they
Mhm.
were in their 20s because they weren't taken seriously. And I was like, well, believe it or not, men aren't taken seriously in their 20s either.
Yeah, yeah. But pretty much adults aren't taken seriously in their 20s, and that's just more of a
Yeah.
culture change, and I think it's because
Mhm.
of delayed maturity in our society, and also the higher uh, qualification
Mhm.
standards that we have than we used to. Right? There's a higher need
Yeah.
to be considered an expert or elite at
Yeah.
something.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because
Yeah.
you kind of want to judge people based on their accomplishments, and it's difficult to accomplish a whole lot before you turn 30.
Well, that's also
But
because of the
yeah,
changes of the needs of society, right? If we were to roll back when society wasn't as big or as technologically complex, a lot of people's lives were starting in their late teens, which you still wouldn't necessarily take those
oh,
people seriously, but since they started then, the necessary
it'd
accomplishments
be
they
nice.
need would probably be by their mid 20s instead.
Yeah, yeah. Like I actually rewatched Youth the Vampire
Yeah.
a week or two ago, and what was it? He says that at the beginning he's like, I don't know, early 20s, 21, 22,
Yeah.
whatever. He says he's about the same age as or younger than Christian Slater. Brad Pitt does, and he says, but I'd already inherited my estate by then, and
Yeah.
you know, had a wife and child, and
Yeah, a lot of people's lives started at the age of 16 in the past, right? So it's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, somebody by the age of 25 would probably had some accomplishments, as opposed to now where people's lives are starting in their early to mid 20s, right? Especially if you went through college,
yeah,
and it might be closer to your mid 20s. Some people's accomplishments aren't going to be until their mid 30s.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it's probably his parents died,
Yeah,
when he was a teenager, so probably of cholera or
yeah, cholera, dysentery, things that took everybody in the past. Polio. Tuberculosis. Actually, odds are it's tuberculosis. Most people in history probably died to tuberculosis until we got a handle of it. And actually, in other places of the world, people are still mostly dying of tuberculosis.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
less morbid things to talk about. Or more, depending on how you think about it. PlayStation, not doing so well. And, well, I mean, the video game industry in general isn't doing so well because people are just overspending and there's just more variety that you can choose from now. So why get an overspended, bloated mess when you could just get something that costs a lot less to make and is more fun? And because of that, they just laid off a lot more people. I mean, they started the year cutting like 900 jobs, but what was the number? I think I'm looking for it. Over the course of the year, between Sony, would just let off more, Microsoft and Ubisoft, there's been over 11,000 layoffs in the industry.
Yeah.
And the CEO of PlayStation just came, or no, not CEO, just an executive, just came out and tried to justify saying that they were necessary to run a business. I was like, yes, layoffs are definitely necessary to run a business when you're running your business into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like it's just so weird.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's weird to feel like you have to go explain yourself, because it's like, yeah, that's why you do layoffs. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I mean, we can talk about whether or not it's a poorly run business or whether it just
Yeah.
made a bad decision. Or
Okay, it was Sony Interactive Entertainment's co-CEO who said this. So it was half right when I said CEO.
oh, okay, co-CEO. Yeah, you know, maybe you should have one
Yeah.
CEO.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, I would sooner. Yeah, it just seems like it's a weird thing to be. I saw that he was explaining the layoffs and everything, but it's like, I'd be more interested in explain why you're not doing well.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You can't, employees are the most expensive thing in almost any business.
Yeah, because you have to pay for their lives, basically. Like, they have a salary, you have to pay it every single time they work.
Right. And I mean, there's salary and there's benefits and there's, retirement, 401k, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're doing work, you deserve to be paid and everything.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a weird thing, because, like, okay, we get that layoffs are necessary when you get overextended and you don't have the income to support, or you just don't have the business to support that many employees. But, like, I'd rather hear him explain, okay, what have you done to make your business not profitable?
Yeah. I want to know why they decided to spend like $1 billion on making Concord a multimedia hit before they knew anybody would even like it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's more relevant. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not saying anything. We had to have layoffs to be a profitable business, but yeah, what were you wasting money on?
Yeah.
That's it. Shit like Concord completely failed.
Yeah. That is the big issue here. And in this case, layoffs probably are part of the solution, because they're realizing just how much waste they brought into their system anyway. So, like, most people would look at Nintendo back when Iwata was in charge, and to a degree, Nintendo still operates this way. If Nintendo had a loss, like during the Wii U section, Iwata would take like a 50% pay cut until they stabilized, so that none of the people working underneath him would have to take a pay cut, which is, a very valiant thing to do. That's that classic Japanese work ethic. But they also had talented people. Like, it wasn't the people working there outside of maybe the marketing team and some of their executive decisions that caused the Wii U to fail, right? The people weren't playing the games. They were still making good games that, for budget, was succeeding despite the fact that the console was failing. They were still hitting those multi-million sales. It's just, it was pretty much, if you owned a Wii U, everybody who owned a Wii U was buying every single game. That's pretty much what was happening. They didn't have any excess on console sales, right? Here, though, even though they're doing more than fine. I think in the current ecosystem, once you pass that 50 million console sale mark, you have put yourself as a success as a console, and they are in the 60 million mark. So as far as consoles are going, late stage PS5 is doing just fine, but their software isn't. And it's because they don't have talented people making good games. So lay off, but let's be upfront about it. Say why you're laying it off is because these people have blown so much of your money and you need to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, I'm sure there are good people caught up in the layoffs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, majority of them probably shouldn't even be in the industry at all, honestly. Because, I mean, if you're there to push a message, you're there for the wrong reason. And I mean, yeah, do that on your own Kickstarter, which will probably fail. And There's always I tell you, Walmart always hires greeters. I mean, they always need people to clean the bathrooms. They're always hiring. Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm listening.
Sorry.
I had the chat and stuff up on the side in case I needed it for any reason. And this new phone has pop-out windows, which is something that like my old phone didn't. And it's a user error problem. It's something I have to get used to because it wasn't there before. And I keep sometimes accidentally turning whatever's on my screen into a pop-out window instead, and I don't even know how to turn it back yet because I haven't fiddled around with it too much.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably be doing the same thing. I haven't fiddled with Android in years.
Yeah. There's a lot of things where it's like, this is actually probably a cool feature, and I probably will like it once I get used to it. But a lot of times just change is annoying until you get used to it. Like, stop doing it. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. It's funny. I obviously watch a lot of Scott Adams in the morning. It's like my daily morning show, and it's so addictive and he knows it. Because he streams every day, 7 days a week, as far as I know, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
At 7 a.m. our time, and it's become an addiction. But the point was, he has the worst luck with technology, and I feel like some of it must be user error, but some of it maybe not. It's bizarre. Like, I'm guessing because like one of the things he always has trouble with is printers, and I'm like, well, the problem is you're using a printer.
Oh, yeah.
In 2024.
Well, just in general, though, you don't have to put the year. Just go backwards. The thing that everybody's always had a problem with all the time, the thing that you need IT to come and fix more often than not, has always been printers. Since printers existed.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, like, I guess he's getting to, well, does he have a laser jet? Because at work, when I had a business and an office, I ended up I was so sick of fucking inkjets that we just had laser jets, and I had a color laser that was fantastic and never had a problem. It was amazing. It was a little on the expensive side, but not for the business. And yeah, I feel like if you want to not have as much trouble, you need to get like a business class. Class, anything. Computers, printers.
Well, I thought that the printer I have is actually pretty good. The only problem I had with it is just in general. HP's like, no independent drivers or anything like that download anymore. We're just one system, HP Smart. You have to get that. You have to link up. You even have to, when setting up the printer, you have to have an HP login because everything's like quote unquote always online. You can use it offline, but you have to have set it up online in the first place. And it's like, this is dumb. That's the only thing about it that I think is dumb. Aside from that, I think it's a great printer.
Yeah, well, interesting. So, I've heard like recently they made it so that you have to have an HP account to use your printer at all.
Yeah.
Ever. Like you said, to install it. We have an HP, I think it's an HP printer at work, and you don't need that. It's like a business class printer.
That's a business class
and I think
printer.
I don't know. I don't feel like I needed to sign up for anything. I just had to install the driver, which was a little hard to find because the out of the box Microsoft driver printed everything reverse. So paper came out completely black except the writing was all white.
Yeah.
What the hell? I was like, wait, completely screwed up.
I actually got a discount on that printer on top of the normal one because it was considered a business class on Amazon, and I bought it with my PayPal business card, so they gave me a business discount.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I was able to write it off because it is for business. I bought it for art and comics and stuff that I actually use to make money. So I was able to write off part of it on my taxes that year too.
Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. Like, I know. Well, I guess you haven't had time to look at it. And I know we're completely off topic. I guess we put anything we want. It's Halloween.
Yeah, it's Halloween.
But with your new phone with the fantastic cameras that appeared to me when I looked them up on par with the latest iPhone cameras.
Maybe
has 3 on it. I mean, it looked pretty much the same specs. I mean, very similar. Are you still? So you've done photography professionally?
Yeah, I have.
Would you use that for professional photography, or would it look weird to be like?
No, I'd use it. Okay, well, so I like SLR and DSLR cameras just because I know how to use them. Like I learned how to use all of the aspects of it properly back when I was in art classes. We had different assignments where we had to learn how to use it, so I'm comfortable with them. But for photography professionally, it's like anything else. It's less to do with the tool and who's using it. I've used that other phone for professional photography. I've used my phone before that, just because I know how to make an image look better by choosing good angles and lighting and stuff. I've used my Sony Handycam for professional photography, but yeah, no, it seems fine. I haven't really messed around with it too much, but it's got a lot of like optical zoom features and stuff in it that I would probably use, and I think it would work probably 90% fine. Like there's maybe I'd find 10% of things where I would still prefer to have like an SLR to do, but I think for like most things I'd probably just be able to use that.
Yeah. Actually, you asked me, you're like, what are these 3 cameras for?
And I had to go look it up.
My phone has, because my phone has 3 cameras. They're situated a little differently. And I was like, you know what? I have no fucking clue. I never even questioned it. It's like, why are there 3 lenses on the back of this thing?
So one is a standard focal lens, right? The other is a wide angle lens, and I'm already actually forgetting what the last one was.
I think it's video. Isn't it for video?
Well, I mean, they're all for video, technically. God, I looked it up just the other day. But they're basically 3 different styles of lens, right? And they all actually capture the environment at all times. And they'll even be pieced together using an algorithm to make more complex photos, but you can use each lens individually if you want to.
Yeah, so it's I guess standard ultra wide.
Yeah,
is the second one, and then telephoto.
That was it. Yes.
For close up shots from a distance. So and it's somehow because you can zoom in and you don't even realize it's sort of switching to the other camera. But
I definitely would not have been able to do long distance shots with my last phone camera. It just starts to become pixely, but that's a cool thing.
Right.
Telephoto.
Yeah, I actually, because I'd never looked this up or really looked into it either. Like the other day, I was trying to scan a QR code from across the room. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if I just zoomed in from the couch over here. Yeah. And I zoomed in and I was like, oh my God, this is like so clear. Like, how is this so clear? Like it could scan the QR code from all the way across the room. Oh, it's that 3rd camera. But it's amazing.
Yeah. It is crazy that where technology has gone. Because I mean, we were even talking about the newest stuff. I remember it was like somewhere between 6 to 8 years ago, people were bragging, it's like, hey, we shot this entire music video with an iPhone, right? So imagine having an iPhone from 6 to 8 years ago, and that's what they were shooting, and the music video looked great. The cameras have only gotten better on the phone since then.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, so what came out this year? The 16, right? And they come out with a new iPhone every year. So it would have been 2019 when the iPhone 11 came out, which was the first one to have the triple camera, apparently.
Yeah.
And then 2015 would have been the 7 Plus, which I still have my very old one that had the first dual rear camera.
I was a little disappointed. I was hoping 2 of them were like the exact same camera, which I'm sure they could probably still adjust it to work that way. Because I was hoping that you could shoot in stereo, right, for 3D shots, but apparently that's not necessarily the case.
Well, the 3DS could do that.
Yeah.
I actually have video that I took with my 3DS that's 3D.
Oh, same.
It's really cool. Yeah. I'll have to wait. Can you take 3D video with iPhone camera? I bet there's an app that can do it.
Yeah, it probably just adjusts the other lens to kind of like be somewhat the same angle but offset. Because they're far enough apart that you can shoot in stereo. Though I would prefer, especially this one, if I was shooting in stereo, to be the 2 furthest from each other and not adjacent ones.
Yeah, you get more depth that way, I guess. So apparently, well, at least on the iPhone, from 15 and 16, so mine's a 15. There is a mode in video called spatial video.
Okay.
And if you obviously you can like watch it on the Apple Vision Pro, and it'll be fully 3D. Amazing. Huh. But it says for best results, 3 to 8 feet from the subject.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I'll have to look up if they have that. What is it? A Samsung
A35.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, back to the original topic. Even despite all these layoffs and stuff like that, I think the thing that kind of upset people the most is that they were hoping that the PS5 Pro was going to basically be replacing their next generation console, right? Like they could still just use PS5s and it's like, here's better games, right? Well, no. They're still going on to the 10-year generation cycle, which is what? How far are we into that? When did they come out? 2020? Like with the pandemic? So we're 4 years in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the PS5 Pro is coming out halfway through, which kind of makes sense because they're pushing for better technology in the games, and they've already started bottlenecking themselves. So you're actually gonna probably have to get a PS5 Pro if you want to play some of the newest games for the next 5 years, instead of just being like an optional upgrade.
Well, I don't know about that because like,
well, that's only if you want the
what they're saying.
Top of the line stuff, right? Even though they're saying that, I know it said some games are not going to benefit from the upgrades whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I'm betting that there will be different modes. Because I mean, think about it. Think how long it took having games that would play on the PS4 or 5. I doubt they're going to jump to 5 Pro exclusives anytime soon.
Well, I think that's what PlayStation would want to jump to stuff where you probably could still play it on the 5, but you're going to not have a good time, right? That's what they would want. I don't think the other developers are going to want that, though, especially how long it's taking them to develop things, right? As you just brought up, other developers are still wanting to be able to put some of their stuff on PS4, just because it's a bit ridiculous.
I mean, I guess the install base is finally getting to critical mass where it's more viable to do PS5 exclusives. But I can tell you now, no developer on the planet wants to do a PS5 Pro exclusive.
No. Well, especially like we heard specifically GTA 6, which is one that everybody's waiting for. I always love the jokes about, hey, we got this before we got GTA 6. It's one of my favorite memes. But that one, they said, won't even really benefit from the PS5 Pro. Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to include higher resolution stuff, I guess, or because if it's on hardware that can do like whatever 4K 60 frames per second, but you don't program your game to do
Yeah.
that. Then
Or it's even like, what do you even need,
Yeah.
right? Like you'd have to almost come out with new things that could even use what they're putting in there, when like
Yeah.
the PlayStation 5 can already play in 4K at 60 frames per second if you optimize your game right?
Can it? I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. If you optimize right, it can play in 4K at 60 frames. Now that's up to the developers to actually optimize their game right. A lot of them, 4K will be 30 FPS at max, but that's not PlayStation's fault. Now, back in PlayStation 4, it was their fault, but they were trying to push 4K faster than they were ready to. That was entirely Sony's issue. But 5's a different beast, and it's like, okay, if I can already make the game in even at least 30 frames per second at 4K, why do I need to change how I'm developing the game to use more? Like, I'm already hitting my development limit at the moment.
And I mean, would it be that hard to just say go as many frames per second as it can go?
It
I
could.
don't know.
It depends. It depends how you're making the game, right? Especially
Well, like
if hitboxes and animations are kind of fixed. Sometimes not limiting your frames per second could end up messing the game up.
I don't know. On modern game engines, I would think. I mean, you don't have to think about what you paint to the screen each frame. You just tell it, this animation lasts, 1.8 seconds or whatever. And if it can render, 60 frames of that versus 30 frames, I don't know how it works. I haven't.
Yeah, well, I know it's
too much.
for certain things like certain action games, but specifically fighting games, it's still an issue where it's just because of the way you code things, with how like hitboxes interact, and priority is a big issue, right? Like when two things clash, what's the priority of it? That's an issue. If you're playing something like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, it's probably not something you even consider.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the idea of in a 3D game, like a fully 3D rendered game, you don't really even have the concept of frames anymore.
No.
It's just
other than the fact that the system is rendering it. That's it.
Right. You just program the mesh to move how you want it to move and the speed you want it to move in. And if it renders it in 60 frames, you still move the same distance or whatever. It's just
a good example is League of Legends, which is a game I played for a little over a decade straight before like dropping in last year, and they have always had an uncapped option in it, and it's because everything is basically the math is particle speed more than anything else, right? So they have a point system, and points are the distance things are in the map, right? So something might be 1,200 points away or whatever, and then you have a particle speed, which is how fast something goes across a point, and that's just how they do the math for everything. They don't have to worry about frames. But if your computer can't render it, I mean, that also becomes a problem, right? So instead of it being a problem on the coding side, it becomes a problem on the user side, because if you just don't have enough frames, you might miss how a particle interacts with something.
Well, the game wouldn't miss it.
No, the game wouldn't have an issue. It'd just be a player issue, right? Like the user experience. Because you might not understand why you just died.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah. You might get jerky and janky, and you might miss some of the animation because it's rendering. Okay, what
hey Lorenzo,
what do I need to render at this moment in time? And if it's been a while since the last frame, it might be it might.
Well, I think that's also why
a bit.
Fighting games, it's still such a big deal to consider frame count, and part of that is because of the standards that the player base expect on those games, because people need to be able to like actually count frames, see how things interact, and if you aren't fixed in a game, like your frame count isn't fixed, and the community can't do these things, your game will lose popularity, right? Because if you want to talk about some of the most autistic people in gaming, it's fighting game players.
Yeah. Well, anything that uses sprites still, if you're still using sprites, but like
No, I
yeah,
mean, even
anything
3D
that.
ones, like they make sure that the timing of the models fit the frame count, just so that they can still do the same things people have always done in fighting games.
Yeah, I guess that's probably necessary to make it as responsive as it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something it's a problem in some genres, but not most of the gaming industry now.
Yeah.
Like I think even racing
Yeah.
games, particle speed is probably the same way that they do it. Like how fast
Yeah.
do the objects move in the world.
Yeah. And I watched the recent I guess wasn't there a release of Unreal Engine, I don't know what, some minor version release,
Yeah.
but it had huge performance improvements and stuff like that. So
Oh, I remember we watched that one video on with that Asmongold watch where there was like the tech demo and it was all like the lighting, and they
yeah,
could turn like all the lights on and off
yes,
independently in the shadows, and yeah,
yes, yeah, with the ray tracing and everything. But as that stuff gets better, as far as they find better
Yeah.
ways to render faster, that's gonna, I think, allow developers to continue to develop for the PS5
Yeah.
vanilla, because they're going to be able to do more with the same hardware as these engines get better.
Well, it seems like PS5 Pro is built for something that's not here yet, right? Like we're getting major minor updates to Unreal Engine 5, while the PS5 Pro feels like it's built for Unreal Engine 6. And it's like, well, as long as you're still dealing with 5, because you just don't have access to the thing that you need yet, you just don't need to deal with the Pro specifically.
Yeah, I mean, 5 seems so new still.
Yeah.
I guess it came out a couple years ago, but it's got that whole face rendering thing where it's like so unbelievably detailed.
Oh yeah, with the MetaHuman app too, where you can just like create default people and then
that's what I'm
modify
talking
them
about,
as you
yeah.
need.
Yeah, and it's like it has like, I don't know how it renders them with like these under actual like moving muscles under
Yeah.
the skin to make it look very realistic.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with the Pro though is it's just PlayStation specifically trying to stay ahead of Xbox. Like that's their whole thing.
I guess.
And I think they are going to try to push people at the very least to have PS5 Pro compatible modes where like it pushes the game further, if possible, just because they want to stay ahead of Xbox. I don't think a push for exclusivity is out of the question for them. I just don't think it's going to work. Similar to the things you were saying, I do think most people would be like, "Nah, we can't afford to do that. That would hit us in the hit us in our revenue to try to push something that was only available on the better version of your system."
Yeah, I mean, I think it will help a lot actually on PS5 exclusivity generally, because I mean that's still suffering somewhat.
Yeah,
There's been a few exclusives, but when you've got, because people with the PS4, I think people will start to games will start to basically require PS5 standard, and I think people will be more likely to upgrade to the Pro because it's like, okay, now we're talking
maybe
5 years.
I think the problem is PlayStation's lost the plot, and they've almost brought it back. They're so close to bringing it back with Astrobot, right? And they're pushing for all of these tech innovations, or they call innovations. It's really just making their technology more powerful, pumping more energy into it. But they're pushing for this, and that's not what people actually want. Like there's a small group of people that want more powerful systems, and most of those are PC gamers anyway. But there'll be some people who want it from PlayStation, and they'll get it. But most people just want a fun game, and that they just need to be pushing more for screw power, make stuff like Astrobot, or make something fun, make something new. And those are what they need from their exclusives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Asmongold talked about this as far as, I guess, when he reviewed the PS5 Pro, in that, unbelievable realistic graphics and everything, 4K or 8K, 60 frames, 120 frames per second, all that stuff. It can make a great game even better, but it can't make a bad game.
Yeah, it cannot make a bad game good. There's actually nothing you can do visually to make a bad game good.
Right. I mean, it's all about gameplay. Nintendo does understand that, which is nice. It to some degree, it's up to the damn developers, the third-party developers, but also PlayStation Studio makes their own games, and stuff like Concord isn't helping.
Well, this is a big issue, right? Because we said it's up to third-party developers. Some of their exclusives are technically third-party, but they're paid and bought for, like, licensed third-party game, right?
Yeah.
And in that case, the developer actually doesn't really have a say in it to a degree. Like, they get to execute it, but they have to execute basically whatever Sony pays them to execute, and that's part of why their games have been suffering. But then when that developer just gets to make their own game that they're putting on any system, well, you still have a fun game that's on the PlayStation. It's like, why can't you just let them do their thing? They clearly know what they want because they're selling games, and then you pay them to make this shitty game for no reason.
I get that they're trying to sort of keep ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, you don't want to have a game be developed where it's like, oh, it really runs shitty on the PS5.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So they can say, anything you make or any game that comes out is going to run perfect system no matter what.
Well, this is why I think it's specifically trying to beat out Xbox, right? Because one of the Xbox's big selling points is that they have, like, the console version of what you can get on PC, right? And you could just, if you want to have a better one than what they could sell, you could just go get a PC, right? But in this case, PlayStation's like, we want to be able to compete directly with the best PCs on the market, or at least they say they are. Obviously, there's still going to be better PCs, but for the general console consumer, this is the idea that they're competing with the best PCs in the market, and that's something Xbox isn't doing.
Yeah. But, I don't know how to fix. I mean, I think it's going to take a while, but it feels like with, like, layoffs like this and just, I mean, good Lord, the epic, just massive destruction of I can't even remember the name, Concord.
Yeah.
I think that might be a turning point, I hope, where it's like, quit making these shitty games for hundreds of millions of dollars. It's insane.
I saw, I think it was like the director or president or whatever of Firewalk Studio, right? Complaining that, like, PlayStation letting Concord go as early as it did, like shutting it down and laying off people, was a mistake. It's like, I don't know. I think the results kind of told you that the mistake was them trusting you in the first place.
Yeah, it's it was a huge mistake to invest in that, and I think that was the best move they could have made. It's like, it sucks that they spent so much money on, like, this whole studio, but what's done is done. Don't want to keep making that. You're just continuing to throw good money after bad if you continue that. It was the best move to just let them go. Hopefully let the executive go who made that decision too.
Yeah. So, on a completely unrelated topic, since we are coming to the end of the show, let's end with something a little sillier, a little more stupid. Complain about a different company right now. We were just praising Nintendo in some ways. I'm gonna go complain about the Pokemon Company. You know what's really dumb and confusing to people is making a competitor for your own app, right? So remember, I think it was like late last year or whatever, there was the Pokemon trading card game Live, right? Which is the new online version of the Pokemon trading card game. You can play it on your PC or your phone, which now that I have more space, I might even re-download it on my phone because I do enjoy playing that game. Well, now they've released Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. Completely different app. as far as I could tell,
Mhm.
completely unrelated. So it's not even like you share digital catalogs. And it is a game for opening, collecting cards, and even battling other people from their phones in a very, like, they say immersive, like, because the cards can animate and stuff. But as far as, like, gameplay, it's almost like a watered down, quicker version of the Pokemon game card. And, like, this is a very easy way to confuse people, because now they have 2 functional Pokemon trading card game apps that have both collecting and battling in it, that have 2 completely different collections. Why would you do that?
That's weird. Are there different audiences for these different sets of
I don't know.
things?
Like this one apparently, like Pokemon, I think can come out of the cards. Like it almost looks like an AR experience in a way, right? But everything's digital, so it's not actually
Like
AR.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. Well, you know what this is? It's did they develop it in house? I bet they were developed by third party.
Yeah. There's title.
So-
No. I'm looking. Who made this? I'm actually not saying it. This is actually well. Odds are it was made by another company anyway, because that's usually how the Pokemon company
Yeah.
operates. For apps, they just like hire somebody else to do it. But I'm not seeing the actual company name. Let me do a Google search.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's ultimately falls on the Pokemon company to make these decisions.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they'll get these proposals from third parties, or they'll do a request for a proposal, and yeah, they'll just have 2 different third party companies go in 2 different directions. It's just weird that they would have basically 2 projects. They might have been hedging their bets, trying to, be like, okay, what if one of them sucks?
Yeah.
And then if they're both, the other problem is, what if they're both awesome? And they've got these 2 competing products. Kind of a weird situation, but I understand how these things can happen, because we were in that space for a short amount of time. Got a taste of how that works.
Okay. So it's made by and this makes sense with the AR look, and maybe they are trying to get a different crowd with this, by DNA, which has made quite a few different games with them before.
Yeah, they're the sort of the default Nintendo
Yeah.
mobile partner, right? Didn't they make like all like Super Mario Run and stuff, or
I don't remember if they made all of them. They might have made Run. Let me
just
look.
Pokemon Go?
No,
Maybe it's just
Niantic
Pokemon
made
Go.
Pokemon Go. They made Pokemon Masters.
Oh, right.
EX. They also made they made one of my favorite gacha games. Is it technically a gacha game? Favorite mobile game. Final Fantasy Record Keeper, which is not around anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they made a couple things with the Pokemon company though.
Is that a Chinese company?
DNA is located in. It's Shibuya. It's downtown Tokyo.
Oh, okay. So they're
Yeah.
So did they make both of these games, or just one of them?
Looking. Let me go down to recent games. So yeah, they made Pokemon Trading Card Pocket. They've made Pokemon Masters. They made Duel Masters. It's funny that they're still making Duel Master stuff. No, this is the only trading card game for the Pokemon company they've made. Like the last thing they made for them, it was Pokemon Masters. They were also the one that made Mario Kart Tour. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Remember that one? Fire Emblem Heroes. And Super Mario Run. Miitomo as well. I think that's where they started their relationship with Nintendo when it came to mobile games.
So from what I understand, the Mario Kart one was kind of a miss.
Yeah, honestly, though, it was mostly just because how monetization was made in the game. Because the game was very addicted. A lot of people liked Mario Kart Tour, but to guarantee a character, which they gave you a ton of the pull currency as well and stuff. But to guarantee a character, you had to spend $40.
Wow.
And you were buying the character outright for $40, and then it would also come with a bunch of pull currency. But there was no intermediate between that. You just would have bought pull currency instead and tried your luck.
Yeah. Well, other than that, all the other games that you mentioned have been pretty awesome, I think. I mean,
The Fire
didn't
Emblem
play very
Heroes
much.
is another one where like the game system is okay. It's a watered down version of Fire Emblem. It's very addictive. Probably one of the worst gacha systems I've ever had. Like when it came to rates.
Really?
Yeah. People defend that. I'm like, no, dude. Let me do the complex statistics for you right here because it's way worse than you think.
Yeah, I only played the first 3 chapters or so before
And they would run like 7 banners at the same time.
Well, I'll just say this because I can say it definitively. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp was and continues to be for the next 4 days or no, the 28th, like for the next month. Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was basically a full-on different new Animal Crossing.
Pokemon Masters is great too. Like I'll actually say Pokemon Masters is a good game. Have you ever? I mean, you don't really play Pokemon, but the way that one works is that's where you collect the trainers and almost like Persona users or whatever. Each trainer comes with a Pokemon, so you make a team of like 3 trainers, and it's their Pokemon. So it's a gacha game, and you collect all the gym leaders, Elite Four, the main characters, any like important named character throughout the series.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Well, who did the Pokemon? Is it Battle League? Is that the one where you to get like balls and hoops or something?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, because you could play it on the Switch or on your phone.
Unite. Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, no, it wasn't them. They didn't make Pokemon Unite.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said that about the. Is it Masters?
No, that was Masters is just a turn-based RPG gacha game.
Mm-hmm.
It was Timi Studio, Timi, where the M is capitalized. That's the one who made Unite.
Okay. Well, anyway, did we talk about the Pokemon? I'm sorry, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp going
I think we
offline?
did. Yeah.
Yeah. And by going offline, I mean there is going to be an offline playable version.
Yeah.
Which I'm still considering, even though it's $10. Oh, I need to log on to my.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I couldn't before. That's what it was. I need to log on because when they announced it, all the servers were immediately under maintenance. So if you want to transfer your Pocket Camp to the offline version, you got to log in at least once, I think, between now and the end, which is what, November 28th, I think.
Okay, so I looked this up too. Apparently, it was built off basically the framework or like how they did everything from the last Pokemon TCG. That was done by Direwolf Digital, but Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, the other one that was already out, was made in-house by the Pokemon Company. So that's like their main one, and then this is like a competing one that they decided to make for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't question them. They are probably the best business on the planet, or at least one of them. Nobody in media is as successful as the Pokemon Company is. So they clearly they're doing something right. It just makes no sense to me why you would have both of these apps out at the same time.
I mean, twice the apps, twice the revenue.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's like Billions Endless Zone Zero. Yeah, I've got 2 guns, so double the accuracy. It's like, Billy, that's not how that works.
Yeah. I mean, hey, whales can't find enough places to spend their money. Now they've got 2 more Pokemon.
Yeah.
Or they've got the one that existed and the new one. I don't know either, but they're doing something right.
Yeah, it's Pokemon Company,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I don't have anything else particularly interesting. Everything else I have was just filler, so unless you have something you wanted to talk about real quick.
Yeah. Just that I just now noticed, and I don't know if this was announced in some previous announcement, that Apple has a 4 chip now, and all of their hardware is getting upgraded in 8 days, and I'm kind of pissed because now my brand new MacBook Pro is outdated.
You've got a 4, like an M4 or?
An M4, yeah. I don't, it's one more than the M3. So
I remember hearing about that because I think maybe a month or two before I moved here, me and my brother were talking about that it was on the way. I didn't know it was coming this soon, though. I figured it would have been like next year or something.
Yeah, no, all of the Mac Minis and iMacs and MacBook Pros are all on pre-sale right now, and I think they are being released on November 8th or 7th, 8th, something like that. And I'm like, man, and my company won't buy me a new one for 3 years. So by then it'll be the M10 or something.
Yeah.
But actually, no, I'm very happy with my laptop. It's great.
That'll start accelerating at hyper rate. It'll be like
be
M23.
Yeah. Well, I gave Peach my hand-me-down, but if she starts to get into serious development, I'm probably going to have to get her a new MacBook Pro. So I better get that promotion I've been gunning for sure. They're expensive.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's it. That's all you want to mention?
Yeah. I don't know, gaming on Macs. It's a thing. Sort of.
It is a thing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, good show. I'm pleased with our performance today. I think we did a good job.
Anyway,
and happy Halloween.
I was going to say that too. Happy Halloween. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please share it out with somebody else. Get more people in here. Grow the audience. We'd like to see more people in here regularly. I'm not surprised if we had like a little less than half of the regular viewer count today, but it's Halloween. People are probably busy doing things. Maybe they'll catch it on the replay. We don't like you any less if you catch it on the replay. That's actually where most of our viewer count comes from. So,
hold on. Check this out. Like, you see how our eyes are blinking?
Yeah.
Like, is it Windows 11 or did I get a new? I don't know if I had this. I might have to start streaming with this avatar again because it's working a lot better than it used to.
It might be
very
Windows
strangely
11 fixed it. I don't know.
Like it didn't. I always had trouble like getting it to pick up blink. Like it's blinking when I'm blinking. That's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this thing. I just gotta fix it. What was with my shoulders?
Your shoulders always
shoulders.
Been like that. I don't
know. I know it's the artist that I hired for this. But anyway, I might start streaming with this again. Yay.
Well, you guys can try to look forward to that. Again, get more people in here. We'll have a good time. And if you really enjoy the show, remember, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live. Really helps us out. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Monday?
Yeah, Monday.